Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final episode of Season 2 of That's a Wrap. My name is Austin Jameson, and joining me is...
Anthony Gentry, hello.
Yeah, so we're definitely not starting late because you're listening on Spotify probably, and you're not starting late on a pre-recorded... Anyways...
Happy Finals Week.
Yes.
It's a hot and humid day.
Quite terrible,
Yeah,
actually.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
But we're here. We have the finale. We're talking about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, what better way to end this season with another MCU movie?
Yeah, I mean,
the Wong Cinematic Universe.
That's what we do here. That's... Wow.
Yeah.
For context, I did run late, and I am incredibly tired. But we have a couple trailers to talk about. One of which I just watched at 2 times speed. But what do you think we should start with?
Let's start with The Hustle.
Okay.
Or I think it's just called Hustle.
I think it's Hustle.
Yeah. That's a Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, a new entry in the serious genre for Adam Sandler after Uncut Gems. Did you see Uncut Gems?
I did. I loved it.
I did not.
You haven't?
No. I wanted to, but I sadly didn't.
You should. It's really good.
I know. But I heard Adam Sandler was he's pretty good in serious roles, and this is another one. I thought he was gonna do Uncut Gems, and then we got Hubie Halloween as his follow up after that. So I'm glad to see he's still messing around with it.
This looks really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of looks like a basic sports movie, which is what it is. It's he is a washed-up basketball scout discovers a phenomenal street ball player while in Spain and sees the prospect as his opportunity to get back into the NBA. So it's one of those coach sports movies.
You just come up with that description just from the trailer alone. That's awesome. Man.
Oh yeah,
that was really talented.
That is exactly what I did.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a Netflix film, and it has Adam Sandler in a series.
I don't even like sports all that much, but sports movies I really enjoy.
That's fair. I really liked Moneyball. I
still haven't seen that.
That's dang. Okay, yeah. I have a movie that you've not seen.
Have
that
you seen
feels
The Way
good.
Back?
No.
That was pretty good.
Cool. Well, that was Hustle. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Comes out June 8th. So yeah.
It's crazy how often they'll release these trailers for Netflix, and it's a month.
That's one of my favorite things about Netflix.
Yeah,
you don't even know something's coming out,
and then years of anticipation.
Yeah.
Speaking of, that'd be if we didn't have another movie, that'd be a really good segue.
I think but we have one more thing, or it's a TV show.
Is it? Is the one you showed me a TV show?
It is. It's Melissa McCarthy is back with her husband in a Netflix show, God's Favorite Idiot. And I gotta tell you, this looks idiotic. I have a bone to pick.
Okay.
With Melissa McCarthy's husband, Ben Falcone.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa McCarthy, at one point in time, I would say I love her as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Now I say I like her as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because her husband...
You gonna really just spit that hot take on here like it's nothing? Okay.
Now I say that because her husband is horrible at making movies.
Uh-huh.
And he has directed so many movies of hers and has written them too, and he is so bad. The Boss, Tammy, Superintelligence. What's the other one? Life of the Party. That was atrocious. And even Thunder Force, which I have just refused to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he ruins everything Melissa McCarthy is in.
Awesome.
I know. I feel bad because I'm sure he's a nice guy in real life.
I mean,
but
can't make claims like that. Maybe he's a terrible person.
Maybe, but he
I guess I should stop accusing people. I don't know.
Melissa McCarthy, in the roles other than his roles, she is great in. But when he directs,
was really good. I agree.
I didn't mind it, that one.
I didn't watch it. I'm just bandwagoning on my movie podcast.
But Spy, The Heat, she's great in those.
Mm-hmm.
But in every Ben Falcone movie, it's, oh, look at me. I'm Melissa McCarthy. I'm going to fall down and make a fart joke.
Yeah,
he gets the worst kind of humor out of her when she has done so much better. And I don't get it. I don't get it. So I am not looking forward to this series, but
Well,
I'm
in
going
this
to
one,
hate watch it.
It looks like Ben Falcone is like the main
Yeah,
character.
he made himself the lead. I mean, he didn't
And
direct
so,
it, but
like-
he created the series.
And so, like, Melissa McCarthy is probably going to be like, if she's not even the main character, she's got to be like full comedic relief now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she did. Like she punched someone,
Yeah,
And-
it's just physical.
yeah.
It's like, what's the
or
word
she
for
kicked them.
it? Comedy?
Slapstick comedy, physical comedy.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
it's. I don't even know. It's this guy gets like struck by lightning, but then he becomes a messenger for God or something.
Yeah, if you've seen a Book of Mormon, I imagine it's
Yeah.
not similar to that at all, actually.
I did not laugh once during this trailer.
Well, I watched it in 2 times speed
you did.
because it was a little bit past our starting time.
And like I said before, I'm going to hate watch this.
You're gonna
Just-
hate watch.
Yes, just to
Yeah.
see how bad it is, and then I will
Awesome.
come back to this podcast and tell you how much I like or dislike
Mhm.
this show.
Fair enough. It comes out June 15th.
Yes, Melissa McCarthy, you can do so much better.
Wow.
Acting wise,
Wow.
I don't know the guy.
Okay. Mhm.
Ben Falcone, I'm sure you are a lovely person. Please come on the show. We would love to have you on.
Personal character.
No, I'm just saying his directing work and his writing work leaves
Suck.
they suck.
All right. Well, that's God's favorite
I'm
idiot.
sorry.
Apparently, it's a show. I thought it was a movie when I watched it, but then
Yeah.
again, I couldn't really hear anything. Comes out June 15th. Again,
Yes.
just crazy how like short you get between a trailer and a release date.
Yeah.
And that leaves our final trailer, Avatar.
Yes.
The second one, the sequel to the
Way
movie
of the
that
Water.
came out 13 actual whole years ago. 13 rotations around the sun, and people are still craving a second.
But you know
film.
what? It's worth it because it's James Cameron.
So the trailer showed us absolutely nothing. If you could have shown me genuinely, I saw the first film a long time ago when it came out when I was, 6.
Yeah, I
and-
still remember seeing this movie when I was 6 in the theater, and it wowed me.
Yeah, well, you could have.
And this movie is gonna wow me.
You could have showed me this trailer, and I would have thought it was from the first one. I have no idea what's new. I have no idea what's to be determined. That's the point
CG
because the movie
is new.
Anthony. This is the same film. This is the
but
first
there's
movie.
water now.
There was
Not really. There's some water, but this is the way
also
of water.
The Way of Water is such a stupid subtitle.
It
We
is.
waited that long, and that's all they could come up with.
It is.
I think it looks just kind of utterly like it looks good. It visually looks good.
It does.
I have no idea why this is the top grossing film of all time, and I don't know why, because there's been like it is a running joke in film of like the sequels to Avatar, because there's like 2, 3, 4, and 5 planned out.
Yeah.
But it's still 13 years later, and we're only just now getting a trailer for the second film.
I'm going to say, don't bet against James Cameron, because I'm sure.
Yeah, he sure had a lot of time to work
He
on this
did.
film. It better be good.
I'm sure this movie is going to make so much money.
I'm sure it will.
And you know what?
And
I
it's
agree
so
with you.
Frustrating
This
to me.
trailer was not all that great. It was just some shots and music,
Yeah.
and then like one line of dialogue at the end. It wasn't a great trailer, but I am excited to watch this. Go back into Pandora.
I'm putting on my tinfoil hat. I swear, the people who watched
This
the
is
first
a spicy
film,
episode of That's a Wrap.
well, the first movie, whoever watched it, if they were like able to actually pay attention to it, they had like some sort of implant in their eyes. So now they love Avatar and they need to see it. And so now the second one's coming out, and the same, like what, almost $3 billion worth of people are going to go see it again.
Yeah.
And it's a money printer, and it I don't even understand why.
It's beautiful.
I just think it's so incredibly overrated.
When was the last time you watched it?
Probably. 1 second.
13 years
Let
ago?
me see. When did Avatar come out?
December 2009.
Yeah. So
Was that when the last time you watched it?
probably.
Okay, I will say watch it again.
Yeah, that's gonna take a lot.
It's coming back to theaters.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is this film 2 hours and 40 minutes long?
It is. The first Avatar, yeah. It's a long movie.
I don't see the appeal.
It's good. I like it.
I'm
And
sure
I
it is.
am excited for the next one. Yeah.
I liked Flight of Passage at Disney. That was cool.
Yeah.
I did that in my freshman year. That was I didn't know what was going on, but it looked pretty, and that's how the first movie went.
And
And that's how this movie will go, and it'll make so much money. And I don't understand what people's fascination with it. I don't.
We'll
It's
just
a
wait
good
for the
one-shot.
Flight of Passage,
It is a
The
good
Way of
one-shot
Water.
film, but how did a 5-part movie? Anyways,
Because James Cameron can do what he wants.
I need to take a breath. I need to.
Let's move on.
It's not
to
coming
our...
out till 2024.
What?
Is this Google could just be wrong?
Oh, Avatar 5?
I clicked on Avatar 3. 1 second.
Oh.
I was like,
Avatar 2
Bro,
comes out this
this year?
December. Yeah.
okay. I was like, no way they just dropped the
is.
trailer. And they're gonna
It's
wait
likely
another
going to
2
be
years.
our season 3 finale.
The season.
We'll
Yeah.
s-
No.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
December
summer is
16th.
like a bonus
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Anyways, that got me heated.
Yeah. So that comes out December 16th. I like how we both got heated over
we
things.
we were excited because when we saw Doctor Strange together opening night
Yeah.
Thursday, whatever date, and Avatar was advertised as being like going to be showing the trailer before the Doctor Strange screenings. So we were like, we're gonna have exclusive access to like
We
this on our
did.
podcast. This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And then it came out Monday
Mm.
morning.
Yep. So you probably no everybody in the world's probably seen this. So
Yeah.
'cause they're
It-
so excited for Avatar.
The
love
trailer, I think,
Avatar.
got like 146 million views in the first 24 hours.
Insert yawn emoji.
That's a really big number though.
I know. I was
It's
not
the second
one of those.
highest
I did not
viewed-
watch it twice.
Highest viewed trailer. I forget what the first one was. Probably a Marvel
Endgame.
movie.
No.
But yeah. Okay. Would you like to move on to our main topic?
I suppose we shall. So, not about Avatar, but another big money grossing franchise. We have the newest entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the Wong Cinematic Universe, as
Yes.
pointed out earlier. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It is the Sam Raimi's first directed film since 2013. Everything else he's
Yeah.
like produced or done like writing on. This is his first feature film that he's directed in a very long time.
It was Oz the Great and Powerful was the last one.
yes. Why am I the research? What's the point?
Hey, that's a good movie.
But we watched it. Night it came out. We watched the second screening ever at our theater.
Yes.
Um,
We coined it the screening from hell.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was
Yeah.
weird because, like, with Spider-Man, with like Endgame, you get the audience cheering at like big triumphant moments. You get like just obnoxious stuff.
Yeah.
This was a different breed of audience.
We got like no one really cheered except for a few people at the title card.
Really?
Yeah, do you remember the movie just started and it was just the Marvel logo and some people clapped?
Oh, I did. I think that was the level of you. I also want to point out
That wasn't me.
if this was never said before, Anthony likes to clap at the end of movies, and he'll do it, and
I do it for
it's
every movie.
it's so incredibly embarrassing watching a movie
to,
with him.
I don't clap. I just try to start the clap to see.
It's
if
terrible.
They will.
You're awful.
I've done it a few times, especially with the bad movies. People will clap.
So, obviously, Anthony is one of the main problems in our audience. But instead of cheering or like,
I cheered when Wong came on too.
awesome, that's wonderful. We had people practically. I think they were dying in the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was one person specifically. If you're out there, I hope you're okay. Where like a comedic moment would happen in the movie, and he would make this sound that you couldn't tell if he was coughing or laughing,
Or if it was a laugh that turned into a cough.
or vice versa.
Yeah. And there was a few people like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, our theater was not full.
It wasn't, but
Like-
it was still not the same person every time. You
Yeah.
could hear it from a different part of the theater.
So like there weren't a lot of people in this theater, but it was like almost everyone
yeah,
either doing that or like crinkling.
that was really
candy.
terrible.
It was at every moment. Like
yeah,
usually you open it at the beginning, so then it's not like that. I think someone opened like a soda can.
yeah. I remember
at one
that. I
point.
remember that.
I think it was at the end.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, we had such a rabid audience
Yeah.
that I just
It was the complete opposite of Spider-Man.
it really was. And you know what? That leads me into my impression which is also the direct opposite of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I did not like this movie.
Okay.
In fact, might say I really didn't like this movie. And I'll dig into this like as we get more into the episode. But this film made its own identity in the form of Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi, like as a creator, was very discouraged from doing superhero films after Spider-Man, which now Spider-Man is like this legend, or like the Raimi Spider-Man is this legend status of like everybody loves it out of nostalgia. Like the movies are objectively like questionable. I enjoy like
Yeah.
because I don't want to sit here and like.
I mean, we've talked about the Spider-Man movies on past episodes, and like we aren't the biggest fan of them.
Yeah, like
at least the Sam Raimi ones,
right? And this movie, like you can tell, and to give credit where credit is due, the MCU is like pretty like struggles pretty hard with having a solid vibe for any film. Like Thor Ragnarok was pretty good, and I'd say the Russo brothers have like a distinct kind of vibe.
I would say it's the opposite, where a lot of MCU movies feel very similar, and they struggle with having distinct.
Well, that's what I mean.
Okay.
I believe I miscommunicated that then. But they all kind of blend together with like Thor Ragnarok and the Russo, like even the Russo ones kind of define the genre, I'd argue.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like Thor Ragnarok, like Black Panther, a lot of the TV shows have their like own distinct styles. Yeah.
And so you kind of get like with this, it's another entry in that genre. However, I feel like this compared to something like Thor Ragnarok, I'd argue Spider-Man No Way Home still just kind of feels like MCU. It was interesting, but it's still like I couldn't pick out a director if I was forced to.
Yeah.
But this one, I just don't think I'm a fan of Sam Raimi and his directing style. I think is the ultimate issue. I hear a lot of like fans and just people who've seen the movie, like reviewers, talk about how it's either like over Sam Raimi, like Raimified, I guess you could say, where it just kind of like it's super went into his style, but I and like many others don't like that. However, some people are on the other side are like, bro, the MCU sucks in the first place, and we finally got a film that's not like the other MCU movies. Be thankful. But I like turning my brain off and smiling and looking at my funny superheroes on the big screen. And they do this in this one, but I feel like the direction of the characters took a big hit with the influence of Sam Raimi as a director. But that's my first general impression. Anthony, what did you think of the film?
Austin?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say.
You gonna say you liked it? Did you change your mind?
I agree with you.
Okay.
In so many aspects.
Yeah.
I've been spending like this past weekend just trying to think about like what I think of this movie, and it's so hard to tell.
Yeah.
Because there's some moments that I think work really well, but there's other moments where it just does not make any sense whatsoever.
I agree.
It is weird to think what I'm about to say, because for me, we just got done with 3 of the best projects the MCU has ever done.
Yeah.
With Shang-Chi, Moon Knight, and No Way Home. And after watching this movie, it has made me question the MCU. Like, what more do they have going forward? Even though I know, like, especially with Thor coming out, it's like I'm so excited for Thor. But with this, I don't know, like, especially the characters, like what you were saying, the direction. For me, I blame the direction for Sam Raimi, but also the writing.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And I really want to get into the writing as well.
Oh, yeah. Like, one of the most exciting aspects of this movie was the multiverse.
Yeah,
and
fair enough.
In some aspects, I don't think they used it well enough. But in other aspects, they used it too much.
Yeah.
But in a way, they used it too much is with the characters.
I agree.
Because there's a large amount of characters in this movie who are different versions of the ones that we have in the MCU.
Right.
And because of that, we don't get any character development from them whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of it just falls flat for me. And it really sucks to say that because I really like Doctor Strange, but I just didn't really feel anything during this movie.
I completely agree. I think probably my biggest gripe that goes above Sam Raimi or above like anybody who can be like, dude, maybe this film's just not for you, is the writing that surrounds Doctor Strange. Because his first film was 2016. Since the first Doctor Strange, we have had an entire Spider-Man trilogy come out.
Yeah.
An entire Spider-Man trilogy. Where he's gotten his own, like, that is his origin story. And this is not to gripe Spider-Man, but just to say we've had so much time to, like, boil and sit and marinate with Doctor Strange, but he's never had any character development besides the first film.
Yeah. The first film,
which you can even argue that he really doesn't. Because he's in any movie he's in, all his like stage notes say probably are play a cocky, arrogant sorcerer who always knows the solution.
Yeah, and I rewatched the first Doctor Strange before watching the new one, and before I had mixed feelings about it, but when I rewatched it, I liked it a lot more.
Right.
And I really liked how a big part of it was Doctor Strange learning that it's not about him, and just to take other people in mind and to stop being so arrogant, and that's what led him to defeating Dormammu.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, with like, I feel I think in Infinity War they carry that forward, but especially in this, he just becomes so cocky again, and they try to do that same message, but just the wording it differently. With you can't be the only one holding the knife.
Yeah.
But then they never do a payoff with that.
Exactly. I just think it's really disappointing because I don't think anybody's able to write Doctor Strange, not correctly, but in a way that I personally like. And I imagine in the comics he's like similar to this, where he's always just kind of this, like, he's very arrogant and always has to be the one holding the knife. But it sucks for him to be locked in this, like, area for as long as he really has been.
Yeah.
And like even with like Infinity War and Endgame and everything where like he has any presence, it's always been him like mocking somebody else or being the smartest guy in the room. Like even his interactions with Tony Stark are like, I just think so dull for his character.
Yeah.
I
mean, I think I would disagree with that. I mean, I haven't seen Infinity War in a while, but I do like those interactions. But even in Spider-Man, he is trying to do something for someone else, for like Peter. Even at the end, he doesn't want everyone to forget about Peter.
Yeah.
But he does it because it will benefit everyone. And so he's not being like this cocky person. But then in this, he's just being so cocky again.
Yeah.
And I think we will go into it later. But how the climax unfolds, I thought it would have gone in a very different way, with about him like letting go and like letting someone else take the reins. But instead, he takes over, does something that everyone is saying don't do it, but it works out and he's proven right.
Yeah.
So he has no reason to like doubt himself again,
right,
or to not be cocky.
And on the note of like character development, I think Strange doesn't have like pretty much any, arguably, at this movie. And again, we'll talk about this later when we go into the very cool spoilers section.
Yes.
But I also want to talk briefly about, well, I guess we can talk like very lightly, but about Wanda.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to talk about her because she wasn't really in the trailers.
Yeah, I agree. But just to tease our conversation for later, I don't think they did her justice.
Yeah.
In her continuation from WandaVision as well.
No, not at all. It seems like a lot of the character development that she had in WandaVision was taken away here.
But we can't really talk about that. That's a lot of the content of the movie relies around that, so we'll save that for the spoilers later.
Something I did like about this movie, because we have been being very negative, was the horror aspect of it. just because it is something different. And I think at the beginning it worked. Maybe towards the middle-ish, I didn't think it worked as well. But I think in the beginning, when they're at Carmitage, I think that scene worked very well with like the reflections and everything. I really liked that aspect
Fair
of
enough.
the film.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it sucks because I think a genuine full horror movie in the MCU would be really good, but the nature of the MCU and the contracts and the legal, like what this movie needs to be, who we need to sell it to, the giant PG-13 on the front, really like Sam Raimi plays with this and he like pushes it as far as he really can. But I don't think it's justifies the horror title. Like there are jump scares. There are like ominous moments, and there's like honestly, if I want to say like my favorite part of the movie is probably the cinematography of it.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I will say also, I'm so scattered. I'm thinking about so many things at once. One of my favorite things of Doctor Strange is his theme, and I didn't hear that in this one.
I didn't. Yeah.
They got apparently Danny Elfman.
Yeah, and didn't Michael Giacchino do the first one?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I can make sure as well, but I don't the da 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 da
Yeah.
is like iconic for me at least, and so that's why it's just so disappointing to not hear that in this one, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, a lot of
Michael Giacchino.
just so many parts of this movie just feel so out of place and like they shouldn't be there. Even parts that I like conceptually, when executed, it would be out of place. And I am being vague because a lot of it is things that happen later in the film. But yeah, like I will say I think you could call this a horror movie. There are.
I just don't think it's enough. I think.
I can see that.
I
But
think the moments that it relies on to categorize itself as horror aren't particularly like.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a PG-13 blanket putting over a horror movie because I'm sure if Sam Raimi, like they gave him more like control over what the movie could finally be, then it could have gotten like super duper dark.
Yeah.
And played with that a lot more, but due to the constraints of the MCU and Kevin Feige's like overall vision, I imagine that wasn't something he was allowed to do, and so the final result with like the moments that I can think of that would be construed as horror aren't scary, and they aren't particularly like.
I see that. I just think there are like very tense moments, and there is a sort of sense of dread throughout the movie, because of the antagonist.
That's fair. I never felt that way, personally.
Yeah, I see that. I just, this is so hard to say without spoilers, but like, because of the antagonist and what they are doing, and having them be like an ever-present threat, like you never know when they're gonna show up. That is where I'm getting like the sense of dread from.
Fair enough.
But yeah. I think Scott Derrickson, who was supposed to be the director of this film, I think he wanted to make this full-on horror, and I think that's how he described it, like a Doctor Strange like haunted house. And then he was taken off, and Sam Raimi got brought on. And I really want to see what Scott Derrickson was going to do with this film.
I agree. All we have really is that he left like the production after creative differences.
Yeah,
and that's when Sam Raimi was brought on. So like. I agree. I really like the first Doctor Strange. I like the vibe of it. The first Doctor Strange is probably one of my favorite MCU movies because of like just the characters and like the mystery behind everything. I really like the Ancient One.
Yeah.
Who I miss a lot.
Yeah. One of my big problems with the first one was I felt it was rushed, but then even going back, I still have like a little sense of it being rushed, but I understood it way more just rewatching it again, knowing that, oh, he has this photographic memory. He spent so much time like reading these books. And I completely forgot, he doesn't end the movie being the Sorcerer Supreme.
Correct.
He ends it does he end it as a master or just looking over the sanctum?
I believe just looking over the sanctum.
Yeah. So I don't know why, but when I first watched it, I thought he ended as the Sorcerer Supreme, and I felt that was so rushed, but it wasn't. So yeah, I agree with you. I really like the first Doctor Strange.
Yeah. And this movie is not that, but that's okay. If I wanted another Doctor Strange, I would have just watched the first one again. But my biggest thing that I wanted, and I'll say this whenever I'm asked about this movie, is that I wanted more character development for Strange.
Yes.
I
want more character development for everyone.
I agree. The most character development we've gotten for Strange in the 6 years now since the first film was What If, where it wasn't even our Doctor Strange, and we had to see how another Doctor Strange would react in a different situation. But like, I don't know, this feels so clunky.
Yeah, I think like the dynamic between Strange and Christine in the first one, for me, was a huge highlight of that first Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
And in this movie, they try to make it important, but how they do it makes it so throwaway because they don't resolve it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And how they handle Christine, it doesn't make her that important in the grand scheme of things.
It's been so long since we visited our MCU's Christine that when she showed up in Doctor Strange 2, I was like, I thought she died. And then that was
she died?
That was the What If like version.
Oh yeah.
Which I
yeah. And Mordo. Mordo's in this movie, but they don't really explain
exactly. They don't. It's he's
like what he's been doing since the first Doctor Strange, because he was a hero that became a villain.
Well, that was supposed to be the big setup, but then we had to
I
wait
thought he was going to be the big
years.
villain of this movie.
I agree.
But instead, he's just this like quick cameo.
And he's like, the world has too many sorcerers in the end credit of the first film, and then we've not seen anything to do with that.
And then like the big mention of him is like, oh yeah, we took care of it. How did you take care of it? I wanted to know.
I think my problem with this movie stems from Sam Raimi and his disconnect to the MCU. Because I would compare this to something we talked about recently where somebody was given the elements of... What is it? Oh my god, I'm so close. I wish we could just pause time so I could think
Fantastic Beasts?
I don't think so. But I'll continue with this. Maybe it'll come back. But Sam Raimi was given these elements of the MCU to play with, like complete like jurisdiction. Well, I wouldn't say complete jurisdiction. Kevin Feige's probably sitting over him with a baseball bat. But he had Wanda's story. He had Strange's story. He had everything in between. He had a new character story that we've not even talked about yet. And it's just like I don't think he understood truly what the characters like are. That sounds very high and mighty of me, because clearly I understand where the characters were supposed to be heading.
I think Sam Raimi does understand Doctor Strange, but the comics version.
I would say, well, okay, that's fair. I thought you were going to say, but he does understand Wanda. But you told me, he didn't watch all of WandaVision.
Yeah.
I just think like either misinformation or rather the lack of information is what really got us here to this point where it just felt like a movie that an AI generated after like watching the first episode of WandaVision and then like Doctor Strange in 2016.
I think like if this was just a standalone thing, it could have worked better because it seems like Sam Raimi is wanting to make a comic book Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
But this is an MCU Doctor Strange movie.
Right.
And
so we immediately get this like super hard like right turn.
It's a big disconnect.
I agree. That's ultimately my biggest gripe with it. And it just feels like so like not rushed because God knows they took their time, but it just it felt really bad. Well, like seeing these characters that like I had expectations for completely fall apart and go a different direction, which is how stories go sometimes. But they didn't feel unrealistic. They just felt unfulfilled.
Yeah.
And it felt like so many things that could have happened. It felt like the story felt rushed, I would argue, where we saw Wanda's like her grief and like all the depth of her emotions over the span of a 9 episode series, and then it has to be cut off and closed like hypothetically in this film. And I just think it's really disappointing to. How do I even say this?
Would you want to go into spoilers so we can talk about this more?
That'd probably be better.
Yeah. Okay. How would you rate this?
I would give this film. Well, on Letterboxd, I gave this film a 2 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
So probably, like translating to like a Rotten Tomatoes scale, I would give it around like probably a like 68 to 70%.
I think that's a really good score.
It is, but I don't think this is worthy of a 50. But as far as MCU goes, which are typically like 80s to 90s, just like with your little rose-tinted MCU glasses on. But I don't know. Probably lower then.
Yeah, because I do think I like this more than you, and I wouldn't have scored it that. Because I have like.
Would you score it lower than me?
I probably maybe would give it a 5 or a 5.5 out of 10 because I think it is average in a lot of ways. I'd probably
give it around there. Well, I'd say this is below average easily. If you go on my Letterboxd, almost all of the MCU films have a 3. And then if it's one I kind of like, 3.5. Really like 4, and then like Endgame or Spider-Man No Way Home would be like
that's
4.
how I am too, and
that's
kind of translates to like 7, 8, like 9.
So this is why I bumped this down to a 2 for that. So arbitrary number, probably around a 5, like a 50% like you. But
yeah, it's just like there are aspects of this movie that I do like, but so much of it just does not work.
Yeah.
Also, the editing.
Yeah,
there's some. They have some George Lucas style transitions
to use a circular fade to black and then a fade out of black.
They also do one with Wong. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's some weird editing.
It was Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I remember like we looked at each other and we were like, did we just see that? Yeah.
It's so questionable.
Do you have the Rotten Tomatoes score pulled up?
I do.
Okay.
What do you think the tomato meter is?
I think critics. Man, I wonder if they're like us, or I mean, every Marvel movie except for the Eternals is fresh. So I don't know. I feel like everyone's gonna love this more because everyone loves Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 85 for critics.
Okay.
Audience. I think audience is going to go crazy for Sam Raimi too. Yeah. I think like 93.
Okay. That is your final?
Yes.
So 85 for critics, 93 for audience.
Yes.
The critic score, you said 85.
Yes.
Is 74%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lower than I thought it'd be. Wow.
Yeah. Nothing to rave over.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So I guess it's not certified fresh, is it?
I don't believe so. I'm currently pulling up the Rotten Tomatoes scores of the other MCU films. The lowest is Eternals at 48%.
Yeah.
Then we have Thor: The Dark World, 66. The Incredible Hulk, I forget that was technically MCU, is 67. And then everything from there is 72% or up. With the highest being Black Panther. Is it? I hope this is up to date. I didn't research. I
believe so.
It's 96%. And then the first Iron Man is second. Anyways, that's just fun facts. The critic consensus. You want to guess it?
This
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness labors under the weight of the sprawling MCU, but Sam Raimi's distinctive direction casts an entertaining spell. I mean, I think that just goes to speak of what we were talking about with how it just kind of veers in a different direction than the MCU.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a bad thing if you're a big fan of good old Sandman and Doc Ock and Venom, but not very good if you're any other like MCU fan. The audience score. You said 93.
Yes.
The audience score is 40. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
It's 87%.
that's even
So-
lower than I thought it'd be too.
Yeah.
Wow.
The audience says, somehow, I guess they picked some random review.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do this. Doctor Strange, again, close, and the Multiverse of Madness delivers all the action and visual excitement you want in a Marvel movie while taking the franchise in a much darker direction. I
Okay.
guess, yeah. I would use more condescending words if that was me, but it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it delivers all of the action that I would want.
There is
Say a lot of
good
this
amount
movie
of
is dialogue
action.
and running around, but
Yeah.
otherwise it's okay. You
Yeah.
know, I like the first one more, but that was Rotten Tomatoes. I think we're in a comfortable position now to go into spoilers. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so Wanda's a bad guy.
Yeah, Wanda is just straight up evil.
Yeah.
Darkhold corrupt.
She ends WandaVision by accepting her grief, being like, I am so sorry I hurt all of you. That is horrible of me. I need to take time to, like, learn who I am.
Yeah, and we get the
just
end credit.
process this grief. And then Doctor Strange is, hey, you know what? Screw all that. I'm evil.
Yeah, well, I guess my main problem with Wanda in this is how they use the Darkhold as a excuse to wipe away any chance of redemption.
Yeah.
Also, now that we're in Illuminati territory, we're going to talk about that.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
But with Wanda, just now that we have free range to talk about how they did her in this movie, it was just kind of like, dang. Like,
it really sucked.
I'm glad she's like, like if they were going this direction, I'm glad they went as far as they did. But I don't like the direction that they took with it.
Yeah.
Still.
Not only like it doesn't make sense for her to immediately be like this, and I get it, she has the Darkhold, but we saw none of that development of her, becoming evil.
All it was an end credit scene.
Yeah, all it was like a quick 5-second thing. And it also doesn't make sense for why is she only looking for her kids.
I agree.
We
Her
are
repetition is my most frustrating part.
Like we are told that this is not just like a few multiverse. This is an infinite multiverse with infinite possibilities.
Yes.
Which means there's a multiverse out there where Vision is alive, she has her kids, and maybe her brother's alive.
Yeah, true. I had that thought in the middle of the movie. I'm
Yeah.
surprised they didn't bring. Is it Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Aaron Taylor Johnson, yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't bring him
there's
back for
no
some sort of
mention of him.
cameo.
There's one mention of Vision. And even at the end, when the kid sees she's a monster,
Yeah.
like my first thought was, okay, go to a different universe.
Right.
There's an infinite number of them. Just
Right.
go to a different one.
I don't know. I think she was just a repetitive, pretty straightforward villain. Any depth that she had from her grief kind of went out the window.
Yeah, and we've gotten so many good villains recently in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
It really sucks to go back to a not as good villain.
Yeah, and I also want to note that Elizabeth Olsen's performance, which was pretty good. I would argue it's not nearly as good as it was in WandaVision, though.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I think the character just lacks depth in this one. All she wants is kids. The Darkhold is corrupting her, and it even the end is just ambiguous.
Yeah.
Where she
does she die? Does she not? I think she's dead.
I don't see it that way. I don't think they'll sit there and get rid of her.
Yeah.
She is supposed to be the most powerful being, and I know, like you say, she accepted death, which is fair, but I don't think they would still do that.
My theory is that she'd let herself die.
With as big of fans, or as how many fans there are of the Scarlet Witch, I'm surprised if they would sit there and commit to getting rid of Elizabeth Olsen and that character entirely.
You know what else we didn't get? White Vision.
Yeah, no,
who is
great.
in this universe.
Yeah.
But, something that I was talking about earlier with the things not fitting.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, is like, I think my biggest example of things that I like conceptually that don't fit is the music fight between Evil
I forgot
Strange
about that.
and
Sheesh.
like regular Strange.
Yeah.
I love the
I believe
idea.
his name is Sinister Strange.
Yeah, I think
is what people
Sinister
are calling
Strange.
him.
I love the idea of Doctor Strange looking around and kind of using his environment to fight, because it's like some of the best action movies, like John Wick, where he just like looks around, finds something, and uses it as a weapon.
Yeah.
It's like just finding these sheets of music paper and using the notes as a weapon. I love the idea of it, but where we were in the story, like we are like at a breakneck pace, like trying to stop Wanda. She's about to kill America, and this isn't time to play games. And let's have this like fun music fight. It didn't fit the dark tone they were going for. It would have fit maybe at the beginning when they were fighting that big eyeball monster, but here it just did not fit at all. So the scene felt very flat for me, even though I really liked the concept.
I agree. I think one of the big problems with the scene as a concept, though, is that since it's a music fight, it's very hard to have any like fight, like action, like even like ominous action music in the background, because you have to showcase the like classical artists that are being shot back and forth. And so whenever they're not fighting with music, there's no music in the background, so it's just kind of them like scuffling on the floor. I found that the pacing of that scene incredibly awkward, the placement of the scene incredibly awkward, and I hate that we don't besides those music fight, we don't see the limitations of either of them. Doctor Strange is incredibly powerful, both of them. One of them has access to the Darkhold and uses the Darkhold, and so to see him not use any like actual like dark and twisted powers that our Doctor Strange couldn't use is really disappointing.
Yeah,
because I think it would have been like really cool to see like a fully realized like almost live action what if Doctor Strange, to see how powerful he can be in the MCU. Because I think that would have been awesome to see a large scale like just I guess wider fight rather than this weird little interpersonal as they throw music notes back at each other. It felt childish and almost insulting to the power of both of those characters to just have them like lob projectiles back and forth instead of using actual spells and magic.
Speaking of the Darkhold, I hate how Strange used the Darkhold.
Yeah.
I thought the idea of him just like becoming a zombie and stuff, like the look of that was interesting, but the entire kind of message for Doctor Strange of this movie is you can't be holding the knife.
Yes.
And he gets told in the universe that they're in that Strange used the Darkhold because he thought it was the only way, and it corrupted him, and it did so much bad. And the Christine in this universe, when Doctor Strange is about to open the Darkhold, says the same thing. You can't be the only one holding the knife. Don't do that. This is a bad thing. And instead of Strange listening to that Christine and saying, okay, well, do you have any ideas for what we can do? Let's work together. He says, no, I'm going to use the Darkhold, and it works out, and he's proven right.
Right.
And and that even takes away his relationship with Christine too. Because like he says he loves her in every universe, but he doesn't go back to our universe's Christine at the end of the movie.
Right.
We don't even see Christine at the end of the movie.
There's no closure with like what is set up at the beginning to be like the point.
Yeah, we get the "Are you happy?" at the beginning.
Right.
But we never have him going back and saying, I just went through like this journey.
Yeah.
You are completely right. I am so sorry for how I treated you. Like blah blah blah.
I mean, that is the core of my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
Is that we start the movie with Strange talking to Christine, and she asks if he's happy, and he says, yeah, of course I'm happy. Ha 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 ha. I'm not denying it. And then move forward, we get like a little dialogue with America Chavez.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about her. I liked her.
She's okay. Completely 2D.
Yeah. And like her whole thing of like, sorry, you can keep going.
I think she's just she's a plot device.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they don't like. She's great, and her little backstory that we get is great.
Yeah,
but
and like I guess Strange does have the thing of I'm not going to hold the knife of taking away America's power, but that wasn't a journey for him. That would be a journey for Strange Supreme, because Doctor Strange never had that idea.
Yeah.
So why would that be development for him?
Exactly.
And so that didn't feel earned for me.
That's not a conflict
And,
of his that was like ever a thing. It's like, I'm going to correct this thing that somebody else almost did.
Yeah. And just being like, oh, you have to trust in yourself to have your power. Like, her whole thing was just that, oh, I don't want to use my power because I think I killed my moms.
Right.
I don't know.
I agree. To continue the dialogue from the beginning, you get the final scene, which is them cleaning up Kamartage, and it's Doctor Strange standing with Wong, who survives another movie.
Yes, I was so scared he was going to die.
Yeah, that scene from the trailer where he's being held by Wanda, yikes. But he's okay. How they can't get rid of Wong.
It's his universe.
Cut to episode we do 3 years in the future where Wong's death.
It's going to be our last episode. We're just not going to do it.
Honestly, cross my heart, as soon as Wong dies, I'm out. I'm never watching a movie ever again. Or the MCU, at least. But, anyways, it ends. Doctor Strange asks Wong if he's happy, and Wong says some very wise Wong stuff. And Doctor Strange is like, maybe I'm not happy. Yeah. Movie ends. Cut there.
I think like that's a good thing if it was Wanda doing it, because her whole thing is she's not happy, and like, what if there's another universe out there where I am happy but still being content with where you are? But the way they executed that theme was just, like you said, it wasn't that good.
Yeah. Well, my problem with that is Doctor Strange didn't need a film, like a 2-hour-long feature-length film, to figure out that he's lying to himself. He's Doctor Strange. He's one of the smartest beings alive, as proven by the Illuminati scene that we still need to talk to. He's ridiculous, and he knows he's deflecting. And there's like, obviously he's not deflecting. It was like America had like a word that called it better, but still it was denial that he's not happy. But like the fact that it took all of this like multiverse threatening like crap to figure that out is ridiculous, quite frankly. I know whenever we see him in the future, he's going to be the same exact character. There's like this movie transformed everybody's stories into such a 2-dimensional linear like path that I just don't like.
Yeah,
I don't like very much.
The Illuminati,
yes, is
in this movie.
Man, that's not.
They are. Do you want to say something?
I'm just gonna say that's not how you do fan service.
Yeah. They are here for 2 reasons.
Yes,
for fan service
and
to show the power of Wanda.
Yeah, I was gonna say and to die.
And to die. Yeah. And we already know how powerful Wanda is. Yes. Like, we see her in WandaVision take over an entire town of people for what, a whole week, a full week, and she would have done it forever if she wasn't stopped. We see her take down a whole fortress of sorcerers and dreamwalk into another universe. We know she is the most powerful person alive.
Yes.
She almost killed Thanos had he not done the rain fire.
Yeah.
So we don't need her to come in and kill all these like heroes that we love, because we already know the depth of her power.
Yeah. Well, honestly, my biggest gripe with that whole scene is just how unimportant everything is, and it's for that purpose. It's to make Wanda feel like so powerful and just like dismissive of everybody else's ability. But it's like something that like so many characters that we've been waiting for a while. Let's talk about the cast of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Because we have Black Bolt, who's from the Inhumans show.
He is, the same actor,
I'd never
right?
seen it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Which was weird to me, because well, first of all, every time they said his name, I had no idea what they were saying, so I had to look it up after. But he's on there. We have Captain Marvel, but what's the character's name?
I forget. It's
Rambeau.
Yeah. It's not. It's either Monica or.
I don't even think it's Monica Rambeau. I think it's her mom.
Yeah.
It's whoever the friend of our Brie Larson Captain Marvel's in that movie was. She's on the team. Then we have, from What If, we have Captain Carter.
Yes.
Being portrayed by Haley Atwell. And then finally, after like...
Well, also Mordo.
I forgot about Mordo.
Alternate Mordo.
Is he on the
Yeah, he
council?
is. And like we said before, this is an entirely different Mordo.
Yeah.
And so what he does not matter. And anyway.
Yeah, and so he's just like it's just a
Maria Rambo.
thank you. So yeah, he's on it, and then we have the Captain Carter, but in a live action form, which was really cool to see. And then what's been teased for probably forever is John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic.
Yes. And one more.
One more. We can just do that now.
Yeah, Professor X.
Played by Patrick Stewart, the poop emoji himself. It's a really good lineup. It's like a pretty neat cast.
Yeah, and like it could have been anyone.
Yes.
So them being there does not serve any story
Right.
purpose or
It's so
it's just for
incredibly
fan service.
reliant on the comics. For that part, and it's like, oh, cool, the Illuminati. It's like, oh, it's the smartest people in the universe.
and
this
like,
exists
hey,
in the comics.
remember Patrick Stewart?
Right.
Remember when you wanted John Krasinski?
Mhm.
But with Spider-Man, like it is like, hey, remember this moment from Spider-Man 2, like my back? But the two Spider-Men serve a purpose in the story, and especially with Tom Holland's character arc
I agree.
in that movie. But with this, it's for no reason.
It is shock value. It is shock value, and it's taking characters that we've been asking for and wanting and rubbing it in our face. You told me something about John Krasinski that I've not looked into, about him only wanting to do this role.
Oh yeah, it was just something that I read. It was random. It
might not be true.
Yeah, no reliability whatsoever. But it was just like a rumor a few months ago saying John Krasinski is in this movie.
Yeah.
But this is his only appearance, and his only condition for being in this movie was to not be in Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's true?
I hope he is. I don't know. I still think he'd be a good Reed Richards.
His performance as Reed Richards in this, it kind of fell flat for me.
Well, most performances in this movie were kind of flat.
That's true.
And also, this is like this universe's Reed Richards. Maybe ours will be a little more charismatic.
Maybe.
But anyways, this group of people, while it is significant to the comics and the overarching multiverse, they could have been replaced by any strong group of heroes.
Yes.
Anybody. But we just get the shock value of and also the fact that Captain Carter. This is me outside of the comics without knowledge of it. I figured they were going to do the Guardians of the Multiverse. And they get Star-Lord, T'Challa, and they get
Well, they couldn't do T'Challa.
Well, yep, my bad. Just realized that. But I figured that was in my head.
Yeah.
That part wasn't in my head, I guess. But who are the other members? Like Doctor Strange, I feel like would have been pretty dang.
Hawkeye? I know Party Thor was in it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought we were gonna get something to that degree, but we went the Illuminati route, and they all die. That's it. And their deaths are incredibly gruesome. And this is what I meant earlier whenever I was talking about how Sam Raimi pushed his PG-13 limit to the edge.
Black Bolt's death?
Mental.
Yeah.
This is... I will say it was pretty cheesy across the board for the deaths. They were still gruesome.
Yeah. The only one that wasn't super cheesy was Patrick Stewart just getting his neck snapped.
Yeah, that one was straight up brutal. But and even Black Bolt would have been better if Reed Richards didn't walk in the front. And he was like, Black Bolt can disintegrate you with one whisper out of his mouth, and Wanda's like, what mouth?
Yeah, all he had to do was just keep his mouth shut,
right,
and then Black Bolt could have done it.
That would have been awesome if we just saw Wanda not even acknowledge that. That also just felt so out of place. Wanda's not in a mindset to make a snarky comment. She wants her kids.
Yeah,
she's on a mission. That's the point of this film. But what mouth? She just wave her hand or something, and then do his mouth erasing, and then watch him scream and his head pop. Oh my god!
Yeah,
that would have been so much better. But then we got Spaghetti Man John Krasinski. We had Captain Marvel's death was lame. It was just
she just got crushed. I was like, she's not dead, but yeah, no, she's dead.
Of all the deaths that should have been brutal, I wish we could have seen what would have turned or what would have happened to Thanos. I wish she would have just crushed Captain Marvel. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
We got Peggy Carter Captain Carter being cut in
Slice
half.
Yeah.
Which you just get the like the cliche top half like shot where you can only see above her waist after the shield drives through her and her going. Meow. So that was a thing that happened. I don't know. I'm really disappointed with it. It was really gruesome. It reminded me of the end of the first episode of Invincible.
Yeah. I get that.
Like, otherwise, I don't know.
We haven't even talked about the best part of this movie.
What's that?
The ultimate cameo. Fan service.
What is this gonna be? What
Bruce
am I
Campbell.
missing?
That's
Oh
the
my
pizza
God.
papa.
You bring up a good point. To note on what you were talking about earlier about the multiverse and how they don't use it to its full ability. One of the first times we see America Chavez's power, which is to cross between multiverses, we get like a little montage of probably 14, 15 different complete worlds and just like really cool dimensions. But then I blew a fuse.
Yeah.
1 second. I need to.
Well, I'll say this. I thought when they did that really stupid memory lane thing that was just randomly on the street,
Yeah.
and they saw, America got scared, and that's when she created a portal.
Yeah.
I thought that's where the horror aspect was going to come in, and they were going to be like, okay, we need to keep scaring you so we can open up portals to another universe and keep doing that until we get to our universe.
Yeah.
And so that excited me, and then they just didn't do that.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, you just were like the haunted house, Doctor Strange is going to come in, but no.
Yep.
They just go into the less interesting idea.
And so whenever we like fast travel through all those dimensions, one of which I don't want to watch the movie again, that's for sure, but I want to watch that part again because I could have swore it had the same saturation and the animations of the cars as the Spider-Man PS4 world. I don't know about it, but I don't know, it looked cool. But we end up in this like grassy New York alternative, and that's where we meet Bruce Campbell for his daily Sam Raimi cameo. And so I'm thinking we ended up back in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe because Bruce Campbell is in that universe as Doctor Strange. He is like
No, he isn't, is he? I thought he was Mysterio.
He like as the theater wherever MJ was performing as like the attendant. He is credited as Doctor Strange. We also get J. Jonah Jameson.
I know in the fourth one he was supposed to play Mysterio.
Well, if you want to look that up.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Okay. Well, this could completely debase me if this is wrong. But the point is we get a lot of Doctor Strange teasers in that universe. And then we also, like, since this is after No Way Home, you could argue that Toby went back and, like, since all the villains were cured, there was a better ending for New York. And so now there's, like, maybe Doc Ock finally figured out his infinite power so that they could grow more trees everywhere or something. And that's why all this, I don't know. It would have been neat. But I figured them finding Bruce Campbell was them connecting Doctor Strange to, like, Doctor Strange of the Sam Raimi. So maybe we got Spider-Man again. I don't know. That'd be kind of crazy. It would be cool seeing Tobey Maguire again. I wouldn't complain. Especially if we're going to get Sam Raimi. Why don't you just commit to it? It's, like, kind of on the nose not to.
I'm sorry to tell you.
Is it Mysterio?
He was supposed to play Mysterio in the fourth one.
Uh-huh.
But he is not credited as Doctor Strange at any point.
Really?
Yes, he is credited in the first one as ring announcer, Spider-Man 2, Snooty Usher, and Spider-Man 3, Matlid. I don't know how to pronounce that. I looked up the translation, and it's someone who oversees a restaurant.
Okay. That's disappointing. Well, I'm wrong. Still, though, I guess it wouldn't have been Bruce Campbell, but Doctor Strange is still in the Sam Raimi universe. That's fact stands. I don't know. I still think the multiverse was kind of a letdown. I think America's character was just a plot device for Doctor Strange to have a conflict with himself.
Yeah. At the beginning of this year, I was more excited for this than Thor. And halfway through watching this, I just thought of the Thor trailer again
Yeah.
and realized I'm way more excited for that because it is going to be a self-contained story. And I know, like, Taika Waititi is going to bring, like, the character development and everything that I want in Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to bring it to Thor. And I'm so much more excited for that.
I hope he does. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but
Yeah.
I'm still worried about this being too much like Thor Ragnarok as my, like,
That's fair.
main gripe. But I'm gonna keep my expectations decently low and hope Natalie Portman doesn't do a bad job as...
It's Natalie Portman. She'll do great.
yeah.
She's a good actor.
She was really good in...
Don't say it.
Okay. I won't then.
Were you going to say
Fine.
episode 1?
I was going to say Phantom Menace,
Phantom
but...
Menace. That's episode 1.
I know. I was going to say Phantom Menace, though. Yeah, I mean, I could probably still rant about this movie. Ultimately,
Anyway.
it's not... I would say this is the most not MCU film. It just, like, feels like a piece of a puzzle that, like, doesn't fit with the rest. And I don't know. It's not that great.
So, yeah, that was... Do you have any more thoughts?
Not really.
That was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, and that was also season 2
It
of
was.
That's a Wrap.
Next week,
Yeah.
we will not be reviewing a movie.
We will not. We will be relaxing.
Yes.
Or maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. For our summer schedule, we already said this before, but our first scheduled review is going to be for Lightyear.
Yeah.
Who knows? It may not be on the Wednesday. It might not even be live. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we are going to try to do it. I've been hearing a lot of good things for Top Gun, so that we might have to review it if we like it.
We'll see. I might have to go and watch the first one. I've not seen it, but
I haven't seen it either, but I own it, and I've just been waiting to watch it.
fair enough.
I think I'm seeing it the Tuesday before it comes out, and then I get my wisdom teeth the next day.
Nice.
Yeah,
That'll be fun.
Yeah, so who knows?
But,
Maybe we'll review that. But we have Lightyear, Thor: Love and Thunder, Nope, the Jordan Peele movie, and Bullet Train.
right.
Yeah, who knows? We might add things. We might take off things.
Yeah. It's tentative.
It's flexible.
But to find out where we're doing these things, you can find us at...
That's a wrap. NCR.
Yeah, on Instagram.
Yes.
All of our
next-
updates and stuff are found there. So
Next semester,
yes.
if all things go as planned, we will be moving to Tuesdays
Yes.
at 1:45 to 2:45.
Yeah.
It's a weird schedule, but it fits with us,
Yeah.
and it's gonna work.
We also probably need to run that by. Well.
Oh, I'm the new
Oh
promotions
yeah, I
coordinator.
forgot about that.
So
Look
you
at
know
this
what?
guy.
I say it's fine.
Wow, already on a power trip. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Please don't take us off air. We
Please
promise
don't.
we'll behave. Wink. That's Doctor
Yeah.
Strange. That's season 2. Join us for the bonus episodes over the summer. We'll tell you how those are going to be going up. The studio, we don't know if it's going to be live,
no
which
idea.
is why we're kind of in the dark about that. But one way or another, it will be recorded and it will be posted over the
Yes.
summer near the movie's release dates. That we can say as much. But until next time.
That's a wrap.